Hey everyone, thanks so much for coming out. So yeah, I decided to put this talk together to kind of go through like the key ways we're seeing DeFi and AI converge or be used together. And I think there's like a pretty interesting relationship because right now everyone's using AI for DeFi, but soon I think we're going to be using DeFi for AIs. So yeah, let's get into it. A bit of background on myself. I'm the founder of Mode, and more recently a project called Synth. We're building at the intersection of DeFi and AI, and yeah, tackling a lot of different use cases. So yeah, we can kick off. So yeah, like our kind of vision at Mode is that blockchains are great rails for AIs to be using, to be interacting, to be transacting with each other. And so when we talk about mass adoption, the next billion users that come on chain, like we've heard that hundreds of times, I think we're at a point now where the next billion users might not be humans, they might be a combination of humans and AIs, or they might just be AIs, or they might be humans controlling AIs. The next billion users could be something we don't quite expect. So DeFi adoption challenge, I'm sure you've heard this over and over again. Like DeFi TVL has peaked at this $180 billion range. It's tough to get DeFi through to the mainstream, and there's a lot of innovation that's happening at like this interface layer, basically making DeFi more easy to use, things around like onboarding, reducing complexity, creating products that mean that users don't need to have deep technical expertise, you know, to bridge between chains, understand how to read block explorers to basically use DeFi. So we're here right now, and this kind of like innovation in AI can solve some of these problems that we're seeing with DeFi adoption, and I'm going to get into those now. So yeah, AI can be this kind of catalyst for DeFi adoption. And the way we're looking at it is via these like three pillars. So consumer interfaces is one. Like what new interfaces can we create using like LLMs for people to interact on chain? What are on-chain agents doing? What is an on-chain agent? And how can they help people manage their capital on chain, or manage transactions, or even manage like deploying contracts? And then the third thing we've been thinking about a lot is predictive intelligence, and how can we create systems using blockchains to create competitions which create predictive intelligence, which can be used for a number of different functions within crypto and finance. So yeah, AI-powered consumer interfaces. There's a few different projects like tackling this right now. We're doing this at Mode. We have an AI terminal. It allows you to do things like bridge, trade, manage liquidity across manage LP liquidity across AMMs. There's also Heyanon, another project called Wayfinder. Heyanon's slightly more focused on like memes, and Wayfinder's more focused on building complex transactions. So I think we're going to see like a huge amount more innovation around like these, like LLM, ChatGPT style interfaces, and they're getting pretty good at helping people create like more complex transactions, and they're acting more like an assistant that you can ask questions to, get responses, ask it to do X, Y, Z, put a stop loss on a certain trade, add liquidity here. That's where we kind of are now. We're starting to see more complexity where you can ask it to do something like smart automation, where, okay, so when the price of ETH drops to this level, can you buy X amount using this amount of USDC? That's kind of where we are now, this like smart automation. And the next step is, being able to essentially, through this LLM, create transactions which will be triggered by certain things happening out in the world. And that's when we have like this, more kind of AI style automation where, the agent is thinking for itself. So this is, the AI-powered consumer interfaces. I'm expecting these to improve a huge amount over the next 2-3 months, mainly because we've seen the models from OpenAI get much, much better. We recently moved from GPT-4 to 4.1 mini, and yeah, the results have been pretty significant. So yeah, definitely try it out. We've seen like a lot of on-chain agents emerge over the last 6 months. I think 2 that we've been working closely with are Armor from a project called Giza, and also Autonolas. They have a number of agents. They have a Modius agent from Olas. And these 2 projects, I would say, are the furthest ahead. They have actual agents on-chain managing capital autonomously across a load of different protocols. This image on the right-hand side is from Giza. And what we've seen so far is mainly like yield generation agents. So the agent is monitoring yield across like multiple different protocols, and then it's moving your capital across those protocols to optimize the yield. I think this is like a pretty interesting use case, and yeah, I've been a user of Armor since day 1, and it's really like, it's just a nice experience to use. The way that these agents work, or the way that Armor works, is essentially as you deposit into Armor, you're depositing into a smart contract wallet, which uses ZKML to essentially has all the data on all the different yield farms, and then the agent, the smart wallet, is acting autonomously based on you holding the private key to that wallet. So as a user, you're always in control of those funds, but all the actions, activity are under this one smart contract wallet, which is essentially the agent. We've also seen like a lot of innovation around like different types of vaults, which are AI powered. And Olas, they actually have a consumer desktop application that you can run all your agentic activities through. So yeah, on-chain agents right now are very much focused on yield generation. Everyone should definitely test them out. It's a pretty cool experience, especially to see that your capital is just like autonomously moving across multiple different protocols. I think that the next kind of stage of on-chain agents is going to be them using more complex data. And also, we're probably going to see like a massive focus right now towards more trading agents, or that's at least what we're starting to anticipate. With the popularity of like protocols like Hyperliquid, we're starting to move from, just yield generation agents, which are, they do transactions, like the velocity isn't as high as agents which people are using for trading. So we've been working with a number of teams on that, and we're excited to see a lot more of that in the future. The kind of, this third layer of AI and DeFi that we're really excited about is this idea of like intelligence networks. So we've been building a product called Synth. It's been live for roughly 3-4 months. Synth is essentially a forecasting competition with around 200 machine learning models competing, and the output is price predictions. So when we started building out agents, we found that there was this huge gap when it comes to like agentic intelligence, when it comes to like predicting or trying to anticipate or forecast the future. So in a lot of activities within DeFi, you need to like have a model of the future, right? So if you want to supply liquidity in Uniswap, you need to think about, like, if you're using a V3 position, you need to think about what range am I going to supply liquidity in. So you need to speculate on the range that you should set before you put that liquidity in. If you use a lending protocol and you put ETH in and you borrow against that ETH, you're going to have a liquidation price. So you need to speculate on what's the liquidation price going to be, what's a safe health factor for me to have on this lending protocol. So these are questions that like we don't even realize we ask ourselves. But when you use agents, agents need to have an answer, right? And so a risk-averse agent will want to have a very low risk threshold. So they might think, and they need a model on what this low risk threshold is. So essentially we went and built Synth. and synth is this like predictive intelligence layer. So we have these volatility models you can see on the right. And essentially, yeah, we have 200 AI models competing. They're constantly scored on how accurate their forecasts are, and the top forecasting models have this output. And essentially what this is kind of saying is each one of these lines represents like a 1% chance. So I think I took this like, yeah, around 11 a.m. this morning. You can see that we're expecting there's like pretty much 100% chance that the price of Bitcoin stays between 112 and 107 or 106 thousand over the next 24 hours. And yeah, you can use this data to kind of get like a probabilistic idea of the future. And so we're starting to plug this into lots of different agents. We're starting to see like a pretty, yeah, it being used in really cool ways. So across liquidity provision, across lending protocols, across perps dexes as well. It can help like define liquidation prices. And yeah, this is something we've been super excited about launching and integrating within DeFi. And yeah, we're at this point where with AI and DeFi where we have like a lot of great tools and we have a lot of interesting integrations. And now we're kind of looking at like how can we bring these new data sources and data layers and actually like implement them into DeFi products. So we're seeing a lot when it comes to like risk management. Like we're working with one partner, Chain Risk, on integrating these type of simulations into different risk protocols and different lending protocols. And Aurora are also doing some really cool stuff. They have this similar predictive engine, but for like much more generalized tasks. So what we're expecting is that this kind of data is going to be demanded. We're going to have a huge amount of like diversity coming on chain when it comes to different types of assets over the next few years. So obviously everyone's expecting like stocks to become fully on chain. This data can be applied to the stock market. We're thinking of like different types of prediction markets, weather models. We're looking at like energy markets. We expect these to all come on chain. And the expectation is there's going to be like this huge explosion of these new data layers, and agents are going to be like the core users of this data and trading on blockchain rails. So we feel like we're very much at the start of this like AI revolution. To kind of recap, LLMs for DeFi are getting much better. Another protocol I didn't mention is called Codex. They're doing some awesome stuff too. So we're going from like transaction building, which LLMs can do very well, to like smart automation, which we're starting to see, to like much more complex transactions, which are fully automated, which is kind of the next stage. The first agents, when it comes to like yield generation, have been running for approximately 6 months. These are also getting much better. So definitely go test these out, play around with them if you haven't. And we're starting to see predictive intelligence actually get implemented. And this is where it becomes like, okay, the AI is actually like, these agents are actually thinking and actually using AI to do something much bigger and much better that humans couldn't be doing, which is taking all this information about the future and using it to make decisions on an ongoing basis. So this is definitely the best time, I think, to start building, start playing around. And we'd be happy to chat to anyone who's interested, wants to discuss further. Thank you. Hi.
So I saw the CLI you have for like interacting with DeFi.
Yeah.
How's the adoption been on that? Are a lot of people using it? Or can you share any data?
Yeah, so far we've had around 700 users. So we actually, we kind of like put it behind like a token, I don't know what you call it, like a token block barrier. So you have to stake your tokens to access it. We've seen like pretty good adoption. it's pretty good at things like bridging. It's pretty good at things like we have a perps dex you can put trades on. It's pretty good at doing like LP, but it's not necessarily like 10 times better. It doesn't give like a massively better experience. What it does is it enables you to do lots of things in one place. So maybe you want to bridge, then you want to do something, you want to do something else. It's a good experience to use just the terminal to do all those things. But like if you just want to put a trade on, it's kind of quicker just to go to the perps dex and just put the trade on, right? If you want to then get more research, you want to put in like different data sources, that's when it becomes really interesting because yeah, it's a terminal. It essentially means that you have everything in one place. I think like adoption is going to massively increase. Like we've been working on this for roughly 3-4 months and it was pretty like clunky to begin with. Now it's a lot more smooth. So we're going to open it up to more people in the coming weeks. But yeah, I think adoption's really going to increase when, yeah, basically the experience becomes a lot more slick, a lot faster, and we're pretty close to that. Hi.
So there is a take that there is a take that speed of the order execution matters a lot when trading, because when you are late, like you can be front run, etc. So what's your take on that? Like, don't LLMs decrease actually that speed of execution? Why should, for example, like big parties use the LLMs, and why users should care about like LLM in the execution pipeline when it like actually decreases the speed of execution and makes you a subject for front running?
Yeah, so I think that's a good question. I think that like when it comes to like this like chat interfaces, I don't think it's targeting pro users. I think pro users are always going to use like the trading interfaces. But if we're talking about the type of user that wants to quickly, they see some news or a friend tells them something, they quickly want to buy an asset, open a position, they want to maybe do it from their phone, it's a lot easier experience just to go onto this type of interface, type in what you want to do, and click go, and then it will just happen. But I think, yeah, the most pro traders, I mean, they don't even use interfaces, right? They just use APIs and build their own systems. I think that will continue to be the case. I don't think, yeah, pro traders will use LLMs because, yeah, as you said, execution's slower. But for retail use case, I think that's really the target market.
You were talking about predictive data. I'm questioning like this predictive data, like your public chain, this will be public data, like who will incentivize that there will be good predictive data on it?
Yeah, so I think that a lot of this like predictive data or what we're building is public, like there's an API endpoint that people can plug into. We just charge for, based on how many requests you want to do. So yeah, we're kind of building this like predictive data as a public good. We think it can improve like everyone across, like a lot of activity across DeFi. And yeah, it's also an open competition, so anyone can compete or anyone can build a model to compete to create this data. And yeah, it's open, it's available for everyone to use, it's on our website.
Like the question comes also like, I guess you know Predictor from Ocean Protocol.
Sorry?
You know a Predictor from Ocean Protocol?
Yeah, exactly.
Like what you take like they kind of sell like the predictive data compared to your public data. You don't think like if someone can sell the data that they will put more effort in it to have better data?
So I think that like there's one thing we're trying to, I guess, change. Like the predictive data we're building, it's not necessarily like there isn't like alpha in this data. So it's not like we're giving away this data and everyone can go trade on it and make loads of money. It's quite hard to use this data to like make money, but it's easy to use this data to improve like systems. So like the data we're doing, it's like simulation data and it helps model volatility. And this is like a key thing you need when you're building any kind of financial model of the future. So this data is really easy to integrate into like a trading bot, for example, right? So it's a volatility model. Your trading bot can help understand like how much risk to take on certain trades. But getting to that point takes quite a lot of effort. So yeah, basically like we're happy to like give away the data because we want it to be more useful across DeFi. We want it to be used right now. In the future, we might change it. If people want to like have like a huge amount of requests to the API, then yeah, we'll probably charge for that. But right now it's kind of early days. The data is improving. It's like roughly outperforming the benchmark, like volatility models by 20%, which is good. So our focus is basically keep improving the data and create this like open data layer for all types of agents to plug into.
Thank you.
Cool.
Yeah. Here you go.
All right. Hi, nice presentation. So I have two questions. The first one is your agent would actually need private keys to carry out on-chain transactions. How do you secure those secrets? And the second one is, personally, I believe in building AI agents that actually augment human decision. So at what point do you think it's necessary to add some sort of checkpointing into the AI's decision? Okay,
so first question, so products like Giza use smart contract wallets. You could also potentially use like a vault contract where, you as the user deposit into the vault and the vault has some like ZKML element, which is running the strategy, is like the vault strategist. So that's how, you can have these like agents running or agentic experiences where you as the user still hold your private key. And the second question, sorry, I didn't quite catch it.
So at what point do you think the agents actually need human checkpointing? So instead of running autonomous, I believe that agents actually should augment human decision and not make those decisions themselves. So at what point do they need checkpointing?
So at what point are they gonna are we gonna have like fully agentic experiences with like no human interaction, right? Okay, so I think that if you there's certain ways we can think about like what's like a fully AI-driven experience. And right now we're at this point where like you can set rules and you can set fairly complex rules for like systems to follow, but that's still essentially just automation. So if the question is like, when are we actually going to see like AI-based decision making? We have to ask the question like, okay, what kind of rules are we setting and what data sources are we using? And if we're giving like a core goal for the system, okay, so you need to maximize profit while ensuring that the drawdown on this strategy is not like 20, it's like less than 20%, right? So you might see, someone integrate like synth data and look for opportunities to go long on Bitcoin in times when there's short volatility, a low amount of volatility, because that's when you have like the least amount of potential drawdown. So that's like one strategy that like an agent could use, and it's just running off this synth data set. Where you need to like essentially, what you need to do as a builder is you need to ensure that you can track and understand and have a record of all the actions that like your model is taking, right? And that's where things start to get more complex, because you might might create this model that uses this data source, but you need to essentially understand like why certain decisions have been made, right, by the AI. And that's where solutions like ZKML have become important, because you have this like track record of how decisions are being made via like an off-chain component, right? So an off-chain component, off-chain data source, and the decisions are being made on-chain. So yeah, there's lots of interesting stuff being done around this. And yeah, I think like probably using ZKML solutions is the most advanced right now.
Thanks. So we talked a lot about DeFi. Do you see mode as let's say if you have one workflow of your day-to-day that you would like to see implemented, that you would like to see replaced by an AI agent, let's say which one would it be?
So I'd really like to see like trading agents that help people who want to run a certain strategy manage risk better, because most people lose money trading. I think it's like around 90% of people lose money, and that's really bad. And we've spoken to a lot of big like perps dexes, and everyone thinks that they want people to come on, do a crazy trade, and then just get liquidated and leave. But it's actually not what they want, right? They want people to come on and be active, because perps dexes need volume, right? Someone who comes on, puts some money in, gets liquidated and leaves, equally with a lending protocol, they're just going to leave. They're never going to come back. So what you actually want is people who come on, who know how to manage risk effectively, even if they have a small balance, have systems set up so they can essentially make trades in a much more smart way by managing risk effectively, and they'll continue using that protocol, they'll continue contributing volume, and will become like a user for the long term. So I'm super excited about trading agents where people can define what they want to do. Like, I want to go long on ETH because I see all these great catalysts, and then they can put a stop loss in at the correct level, and they can essentially manage their strategy in a much more advanced way, like a pro trader would, but everyone would have access to this.
So we have a few more minutes for one or maybe two questions, so feel free to ask if you have any.
Hey.
Hi, I'm curious to hear how much of this information you have about the users is actually based in user research of some kind.
So yeah, we're doing quite a lot of user research. I mean, I think the good thing about building an LLM is you essentially can evaluate like every question that someone's giving, right? So you have a very fast feedback loop. Like, there's lots of things that the terminal we've built can't do, but we kind of see like the demand from users, because some users will say like, I want to do XYZ transaction, right? But we probably might not have the capability to do that, but we can see that, we can take note of it, and we can then build out that product, that feature. So it's quite interesting that you can get like a very fast feedback loop when you have like this chat interface, because people are just asking, just telling you what they want to do all the time. So that's quite cool. I think like when it comes to agents and like this yield agent managing people's money, I think that this is going to happen, right? It's just right now, there's like this risk level that people really need to, I mean, people still don't trust them, right? Like when you're putting like funds into these agents, you might put like, I don't know, 5 figures, but I don't think anyone's trying to put 7 figures into an agent to manage right now. You know, you still want to make sure you're using the most secure setup possible, and you're just putting it into one protocol, and you're happy to forego like some yield to make sure you have like the most secure setup possible. So I think it's going to take a little time before we see like yield agents grow to be using or to be managing huge amounts of capital, and that's just built on trust, right? They just need to build up the trust. Just like DeFi protocols in the early days, people didn't want to put huge amounts in, but slowly trust is built, and now we have like billions of dollars in protocols like Aave.
So thanks a lot, everyone, for your questions. We do not have more time. And if you have any questions, feel free to network with them.
Thank you.